Hey, Brynne, have you seen Steel Magnolias?
Oh my god, yes, I love that movie.
Jonsey, you've seen it, right?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
You've seen Dracula, right?
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
Lena, you've seen it. What do you think? Filmspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh my god! Weekend at Bernie's saved my life.
Jonsey, you have to have seen it.
Oh my god! No, I haven't. Of course not. You've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the best.
That movie scared the out of me when I was a
Lena,
kid.
did it scare the out of you? I have not seen that one, and I will be praying for all of your souls. It's your Filmspringa, Lena.
Haven't seen it.
It's showtime!
Hey, all you Filmspringers! This is Filmspringa, the podcast about your favorite movies that you love and your sheltered friend who's never seen them. I'm Tony, and I'm here with Brynne. And our very lovely sheltered friend.
Hey guys, I'm Lena.
We're back for another week. And this week, we are going back to the 80s. It's the 80s again, because these are the movies we grew up with. And this one is going to be an interesting movie. But this is one of your favorite films, Brynne.
It is. And I stand by it.
This is going to be interesting. We're going to do the 1989 dark comedy, Weekend at Bernie's. Yay.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Bernie's, yeah.
Is it classified as a dark comedy?
Oh,
I mean,
it's about
they are dragging a dead body around for 90% of the
It's about a bunch of
movie.
people dragging a dead body and doing prop falls. It's about a dead body that does a prop fall. So I would say,
yeah. To me, it was just so much slapstick that it didn't, like, I got desensitized to the fact that they were looking around a dead body the whole time.
So yeah, this film it is a cult film. It is referenced in so many films and TV and cartoons and pop culture throughout the years. Like, it is a staple within the American pop culture, this film.
63% of my stand-up routine is just Weekend at Bernie's.
Wow. So should we watch the trailer?
That's some hard data.
To get into the
let's
mood
watch
for
the
some
trailer.
Weekend at Bernie's? Let's watch the trailer.
Yes.
Don't you see? We just uncovered a $2 million error. We're going to be heroes. We're going up the corporate ladder. It appears as if somebody's trying to defraud the company.
Somebody tried to smoke it past the wrong guy.
Very, very good work. How would you two like to come to my house at the beach?
Love to!
For Larry and Richard,
How are you?
this is a place to die for.
You have to kill them, Vito.
A little rusty, but it'll come back to me.
What, should we just walk in?
But what they don't realize
No, we'll stand out here on weekend. Come on, we're house guests.
is while they're checking in,
Forget the accident with the two guys. Take care of Lomax.
Bernie Lomax will be checking out.
Oh my God! What kind of a host invites you to his house for the weekend and dies on you?
I don't know.
Lomax told whoever he's talking to not to kill us if he's around, right?
Yeah, but Lomax is dead. He's not around anybody anymore.
I know that. You know that. Nobody else knows that. Huh? Oh! Where's Bernie? It looks good enough. Let's go. Uh-oh. Larry, what? Huh?
Really?
Hi, Bernie. Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Oh, Bernie, you animal, you are insatiable.
Doesn't anyone realize he's dead?
Hold the boat! Got him? Hold the boat! The boat!
Vito, I'm telling you, Lomax is alive. Maybe Paulie is rustier than we thought.
Ooh, Bernie, you're starting to peel. I'll get you out of the sun, huh? Is that the killer? How do I know, Richard? Should I stop and ask him? No, just drive. Serpentine! Do you hear something? What is that? It's just Bernie.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Are we doing it again today?
Oh, absolutely. You know we are.
Great, we'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, ladies. We'll see you later. God, is this great or what?
Yes, we get our Bernie's. Brynne, I got to start with you. How many times have you seen this film? Because I know you love it.
I have seen this movie conservatively 3 baker's dozens.
That's a lot.
So I have to say that like this movie for me is like when I'm like sad or like I can feel that I have some anxiety coming on. I was like fucking Weekend at Bernie's, because like even though I have seen it a million times watching it today, I watched it today, and that opening credits, the music starts and I get fucking pumped. It's like someone has like hit me with a thing of adrenaline. I'm just like, let's get into
so
it.
This is your Beaches. Like Beaches does that for me.
This is my Beaches. Yes. It's a dead guy at the beach, which really tracks for me.
Apparently. So it stars Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman. Very young. Both of them very young in this film. Yes. And Brynne, since you're an expert on this film, give us a brief plot outline. I mean, it's not difficult, but
okay. So 2 mid-level, what is their job?
They work for an insurance company.
Insurance company. And they're in bookkeeping maybe or quality control.
They're doing
very nebulous.
They're going to move it to the new computer system because
they have lots of those
new.
They have lots of those old school printouts from your computer that have like the perforated sides. They're looking at all of those. So 2 dudes, they work in an insurance company. They're trying to make their way up the corporate ladder. And they were working one day. They find an anomaly in the bookkeeping, which is that someone who has died has gotten multiple life insurance payouts of millions of dollars. They bring it to their boss, Bernie. And Bernie is like a swarthy looking guy. Bernie's like, no, this is not a problem. And they're like, yes, it is a problem. And he's like, why don't you guys come to my beach house? Turns out Bernie is the one stealing the money. All right. And he's in deep with the mob. Not sure how that connects. He just is. And so he's like, come to my beach house. And he goes to his mob connects and he's like, got to kill these guys. They know too much. The mob connects are like, you know what? I think you're getting sloppy, Bern. I think we're going to whack you. So he gets whacked off at his beach house in the island. He gets whacked off early on. The mid-level execs, Larry. One of them is named Larry. They come, Larry and Richard come, and they find out Bernie's dead. But they're like, you know what? I'm not going to miss out on this sweet vacay just because of a rotting corpse of our boss. So they're like, let's keep this weekend going. So they keep the weekend going by just propping Bernie up. No one else notices he's dead because I guess that's Bernie's personality. There's like some love stuff, some ancillary slapstick comedy. In the end, it sort of culminates in, Larry and Richard finding out that Bernie was the one stealing from the company and he was going to frame them. Then it becomes hijinks with them understanding and them trying to get away from the mob. And then at the end, you know what? Everything's cool.
That was good job, Brynne. Good job. Yeah. Look at you got through that. Yay. Round of applause. So this film actually was panned by most critics. They hated it when it came out.
As most great art is.
Debatable. What is it? I can never remember the old guys that do the movie reviews. Siskel and Ebert. They said Weekend at Bernie's makes 2 mistakes. It gives us a joke that isn't very funny, and it expects the joke to carry an entire movie.
2.
Yeah.
They set it up for a sequel.
They did, which I've actually never seen the sequel. I've never seen the sequel.
What? That's got to be a bonus episode.
I know. I've never seen it.
Guys to Weekend at Bernie's too.
Yeah.
In Jamaica.
And it holds a 54% approval rate on Rotten Tomatoes. So
it's better than that gaudy movie with John Travolta.
Huh?
Is it not problematic that this is their thing to just like prance around? Like they should be in jail if there's a second movie. Like they came across a second dead body.
It's the same
and
dead body.
Decided to do it again.
Isn't it, Brynne?
Yeah.
It's the same dead body?
Yeah, it's the same. It's Bernie.
Yeah,
it's
Bernie.
still it's not a different dead body. It's Bernie.
You got to watch it.
So
we got to watch it,
to
Lena.
Take place right after?
Yeah, it wouldn't be Weekend at Bernie's too if it wasn't Bernie.
Yeah.
you know?
Maybe it's Bernie's cousin. Anyways,
No.
so this film,
Bernadette.
I haven't watched this film probably since I was
Adam Sandler.
21 or 22. It's been a
Oh,
long,
man.
long time. When I rewatched it this week, I really appreciated the type of film it is back in the 80s. You know, it was like we were talking before, it has that 80s feel like Mannequin did and a bunch of other films from the 80s, which I love. But for me, the film really picks up after the first 40 minutes, after all the exposition, setting these characters up. Once they get to the beach house, that's when the film starts to get very fun for me. But you have like the typical, like the two characters, Larry and Richard.
Odd couple.
Yeah.
It's a classic odd couple
Yeah,
setup.
the one scene that really
Yeah.
bothers me is the rooftop scene with the tar melting. It just bothers me.
I know, it's so gross.
gross. I don't know why it bothers
My
me.
anxiety was like,
So
clean yourself up.
this is another question. The whole film, I'm thinking, does Andrew McCarthy or Jonathan Silverman, who has the best legs?
Their legs are both so great.
I think
They're
think
like-
Jonathan Silverman by far.
Oh, well, I have a very big crush on Jonathan Silverman. That started from a young age, and when he was on The Single Guy.
Oh
remember
yeah,
that TV
yeah, I
show?
remember that show. He started on Broadway actually in
know.
Beach, the memoirs. What is it? Brighton Beach
Brighton
Memoirs.
Beach
Yeah,
Memoirs.
and then they moved
Yep.
it into. They made a film of it, and he starred in the film
He
too.
started
Yeah,
the film.
He's
Yeah,
very
that
good.
little hat.
That little
Really
hat.
cute.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh man.
We should do that
I
one.
have
Is
no idea what.
Oh,
you're
it's a
Okay, yeah,
good
we should do
film.
that. So good.
It's a really good film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I used to work with a sketch comedy group, or I didn't work with them, but like I've done comedy and they've been at the same festivals, and they were the Brighton Beach Menzies.
Menzies.
all women.
But this film, I mean, it's hard to understand if is this film a good film or is
No.
it not? But it has such a staple in pop culture. Why is that?
It's because it is so brazen in its stupidness, and they commit. It is stupid.
It is.
Imagine here, I would like to make a movie, a studio, invest millions of dollars in this movie. Very hot actors of the time.
Yeah.
Come star in this movie about you.
I love how Lena had to
Shooting
grab a
around
beer for
like
this.
corpse. You're just going to be propping up a corpse in a tropical setting and just take that around, and to get people to
It's not
invest.
tropical. It was New
Well, they're
York,
on a
right?
beach.
Yeah, it
Sorry,
was
on a
up in
beach.
Okay.
Hamptons, right? Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do me dirty like that. It's on a beach.
But you,
So for them
Yeah.
to just be like, and to get people on board with that, and they just carry it. They're like, we know this is
Yeah.
dumb, and we're just gonna take it. It's like the stakes are already at a 13, and it's like there's no steady incline. It's like the stakes are dumb,
yeah, they're
and
dumb.
they just keep
Getting dumber.
getting dumber. And all of it, the slapstick comedy, all of it is just like, we know this is stupid. Let's just be stupid together.
Yeah.
And that's such an 80s thing. And you just know that the screenwriter, there was so much cocaine involved in
Oh,
this.
A lot, a lot of cocaine.
So much cocaine. And but it's like so funny and fun and stupid
Yeah.
that every time you watch it, you're just like, what is this? Life is weird.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know this film. Okay, so the first part of the film, when they're doing all the setup, getting ready before the body dies, before Bernie dies, for me drags a little too long, because you have these
That
two
is-
characters, Larry and Rich, who aren't fully fleshed out. You have the slacker, then you have the socially awkward nerd character, right?
Yeah.
And it's like everybody in the film, like all of the characters are kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Even Bernie, like he can't even cover up his like, because the first part of the whole film, you got to establish these two lead characters, where they work, introduce the love interest with with Gwen, right? That's the
Yeah.
Gwen. Then you got to set up
I did have a
the embezzlement that they've embezzled money, or Bernie did. Then you have to set up that Bernie's having an affair with his mom. Mom's
yeah, and
all of this within the
also have
first like 40 minutes. You have to set it all up.
you have to establish that Larry and Rich are the type of characters that would be okay partying for a weekend
dead
with
body,
a corpse.
yeah.
So we need to believe this from the outset in their character establishment.
That they're
They're
not the
like,
brightest
yeah, I can
kids.
see these two dudes. I can see these two dudes
Yeah.
partying with a
But you
corpse
know
for a
what?
weekend.
Why it works? Why the whole when Bernie does die, when the hitman finally kills him off and they discover the body, and then before they could call the cops, all of the Hamptons Richie Riches show up at Bernie's house, right? And nobody bats an eye that he is dead. And I think the key why it works is every single one of those person that interacts with Bernie in the beach house, including the mistress, all just want something from him. They're so self-absorbed that they cannot notice a dead fucking body. Right?
Yeah.
Well, and they do a good job of setting up that, like, so you don't feel bad for Bernie when all this stuff that it's like, wow, that's wildly disrespectful to do to a body. It's kind of like, well, he's a schmuck.
jerk.
And he was gonna get these guys killed, and he was having an affair with the mob boss's gal. Like, how dumb is that? Like, all these things that make him
Yeah, I mean,
okay to beat up.
but I think that's why it works is because they make all the people that interact with the dead body so self-absorbed they don't notice the dead body. Because you have the girl who wants the book review, the guy that wants the Porsche. Even the mistress comes up and says having sex with his dead body is an improvement. Do you know what I mean?
I know, man.
So
That's tough. That's tough to watch.
yeah, so I think that's kind of like a bit of like on the good side of the film is they did that very well, wrote that part and
No,
established
it is really a morality play. It is a scathing indictment of excess culture. It's holding a mirror up
Is it really?
to
Wow.
that society and
Of the
saying to
upper
ourselves, are we
crust.
all just in it for ourselves? Is that what we're in it for? Bernie is us. We are Bernie.
Yeah. Wow, Brynne.
And we
Deep
are all of
thoughts.
them.
Deep thoughts.
And we would also like to party at a beach house, even if there's a corpse there.
Yeah. But then once they get to the beach house, and especially after they decide to party, that's when the film for me picks up. And it's just comedy and stupidity unfolds. And after that moment, all the stuff that happens, I'm like, this movie is so dumb. None of it's believable, but it's enjoyable. It's funny. It's stupid.
The thing is, the premise is so
It is,
unbelievable.
but that was why
they
people
can
didn't
play
like it.
around with
Yeah,
it.
that's why the
That
critics
very
didn't like it.
stupid thing- But very stupid, when your premise is already unbelievable, very stupid things can happen. Because you're like, I'm already gauging it from a viewpoint of things being stupid.
Yeah.
So why would this happening all of a sudden be unrealistic? It's already unrealistic.
I mean, that's what Adam Sandler has built his entire.
You're
career
very,
on.
very right, Jonsey. Very, very right.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Weekend at Bernie's. What is it? Walked so that Adam Sandler could
thrive. But yeah, even like I love when what's it called? Andrew McCarthy's character Larry has the fly swap to get. Yeah, I mean like little things like that. I mean, come on.
And the kid's burying him.
Yeah, and that
you're
stupid
just
little
like,
kid.
what?
Oh, I would have punched him in the
He's
face.
a little fucker. He's a good actor.
I would have punched him in the
Yeah,
face.
we can't fuck that
So,
kid.
Brynne, when was the first time you watched this film? So, give us like the background on why you love this film, how much it means.
I predict way too
way
young.
too young.
Shockingly young.
Let's see. This came out 1989.
I'm gonna say she was 7.
Brynne was born in 88, so she was 1 year old. No.
She watched it when she was 7, is what I'm gonna say. 7 or 8.
This came out in 89. I saw this when I was like in the 3rd grade. How old are you in the 3rd grade?
No idea. How old's Flynn? Is she in the 3rd grade?
I would say 7. No, I think Tony was right.
8.
Okay, 7, 8, like the same
Yeah,
thing.
there you go. I was right.
8 or 9.
Ba, ba, ba,
Yeah,
ba.
yeah.
I was right.
And then like I just remember, I don't think that I understood it was a dead body.
What did you think it was?
I think I just thought it was funny and slapstick,
Yeah.
or maybe I did, and that explains a lot about me.
Okay.
Maybe I was like, dead bodies are funny.
Well,
You don't
I
go
have
to
to say, as
jail if
far as
you
the
just have a
slapstick
dead
part
body
of
at a park?
humor, like
Yeah, that's a lot of it.
as far as the slapstick part of humor, like not understanding that part is a very funny to kids. Like,
yeah.
I've been involved in children's theater where I've done a lot of those similar moves.
I know, me too.
Yeah, he's like falling off into the sand,
Yeah,
like
getting buried.
showing up on shore.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's like that 80s sort of, or early, like late 80s, early 90s sort of excess, where it was like the beautiful blonde women and the bikini, you know,
The
guy
thong
Yeah.
bikini where it's just like, well, she's naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy I mean was like, "Would you ever wear a bikini like that?" You know, like that
Yeah,
bikini, and
the
I was
French
like, "Never in a
cut.
million years." But like, very much like weird
Yeah.
tan lines. But like, I was very much like, "That looks good. That's good
And
stuff."
then you have Polly who keeps killing Bernie. He thinks Bernie's
and then
alive.
slowly going insane. He's the best
Yeah,
character.
so yeah,
'cause
for
he's
me.
I did like that part.
He just, I know,
then he
it was
leaves.
funny.
And that was also very like slapstick, but sort of like a Neil Simon, like you know, like
Yes.
everyone's taking like it comes every time in a different
Yeah.
costume.
Yes.
And then he's like thwarted and it slowly drives him
Yeah.
insane. It's like that's like the best character
So
development.
you
in
were
the
what,
movie.
around eight when you watched this? Do you
Yeah.
remember where you
And
were when you watched it and all of that stuff?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I was at home. It was after school one day and it was on like TBS or something.
Yeah.
And I was upstairs in my parents' room, like just like eating salami and cream cheese sandwiches and being like, comedy peak at its
Yeah.
best.
You're like, this is it for me. This is the best
This
thing.
is like fun and funny. And it was like the music and like all of like the, you know, the very attractive people. And like, I just remember thinking like, this is dumb, even not really fully understanding what it was about, but knowing it was dumb, but like in the best way, like dumb that's like not sort of hurting anyone or like putting people down. Like it wasn't like that sort of like insult comedy. It was just like, this is stupid and they're having a good time and just being weird and like probably lots of money was spent on this very stupid movie.
Yeah,
And I think that's great.
15 million. It was, and it made
Yeah.
30. So
They made a sequel.
I know, which is so weird. I don't know.
And that was before the time of when they made everything a sequel like they have now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was bold. I remember in the 80s and 90s, like sequels were automatically lame.
Oh
so
yeah, it
that
was like the
extra
kiss
bold.
of death. Remember? It was
Yeah.
always shitty. The name a sequel that was better than the original.
Terminator
True.
2.
Yeah, that's true.
One out of the billions of movies made.
It's the whole argument from Scream 2
Yeah, that-
when they're like so meta
Yeah.
that they're like sequels are so terrible and you're like, oh, Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
When did it ever happen to him?
Yeah, what about you, Tony?
Okay,
When did
so
you
I
first see this
was well into, I think, high school. It had to be like freshman year or something like that. And it same as you, Brynne, it came on like TV while I was at my grandfather's house, the one that wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. And that's where I watched it. It was on the weekend. I remember it was like TBS or one of those things. And I remember watching it with my brother, and we both just thought it was the funniest shit ever. Just the idea. I remember thinking, because I was a teenager, I was like, okay, this is going to be dumb. Going into it, I'm like, this is just going to be dumb. But I also had a crush on, what's it called, Jonathan Silverman.
Jonathan Silverman, yeah, for sure.
I watched it, and I mean, the first part, even when I remember the first, I was like, okay, what's going on? Once they got to the beach house, then I remember just thinking it was the funniest shit ever. Like, I just really thought it was dumb and fun. And
It is.
yeah, and it was very, for me, very, very 80s. It's like just, it reminds, now when I think back on it, it just reminds me of being a teenager. You know what I mean? A young kid.
Just
in the
thinking
80s.
dumb shit is
Yeah.
funny and just like sort of carefree.
Yeah, this
and, like,
was up there
you know-
with like those movies that were over the top, like Porky's and all of those type of movies.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
this film goes into that genre for me.
And I think that I liked that it wasn't like, okay, so there are like, you know, women in bikinis in it
Yeah.
and stuff, but like the heart of it isn't like, oh, we're gonna go spy on girls or steal their underwear.
No, it's these
or
two
like,
awkward guys.
it's a buddy comedy. It's a
Who
buddy
want to
comedy.
be cool, but they're really not. They're just a bunch of losers. And then they just stumble into this rich man's life and, you know, kind of go buck wild and be, we're going to just go for
And
it.
there's no like heavy, you know, there's like a one heavy petting scene, and like obviously necrophilia
Yeah.
is like
I mean, come on.
referred to, but you don't see
No.
it. So it's like as a kid, I wasn't like, ooh, mushy or like, ooh, lots of
Yeah.
you know, like it didn't hit my shame meter, which I
You
guess
wouldn't
also
have
says a lot
gotten the
about me as an adult.
innuendo and like that whole scene would have just kind of gone over your
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I mean, as an adult now, yeah, it's like Clerks. That
Oh,
scene in
Clerks. I
like,
think the best part of the
Yeah.
movie, the parts of the movie, even when I watched it originally, was like the last half hour of the movie especially when the character Gwen knows is in on the joke.
Yes.
Then to me it really starts to pick up. And I just remember the whole when when Polly comes to the house, and even when I watched this when I was a teenager, comes to the house and then he shoots Bernie again.
Shoots the stereo.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
they wrap him in the phone cord, and all of that stuff goes on. Like all of that to me reminds me of like a farce, like theater farce, when we would do it and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's like
that.
a
And I
farce,
totally
exactly.
enjoyed it as
Yes.
a kid. And even now as an adult, when I watched it this week, I was like, that's the part I really like. It reminds me of doing theater and being just everything's over the top,
it's a
and I loved it. Yeah, I
yes.
like that part of it a lot. I thought it was. That's the parts of the film I really like. But then when you sit down and you think about the story, you're just like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. This is like, but then you see it and it's not the best film, but I understand why it's so relevant in pop culture. They took this one prank or this joke of a dead body that is usually just a small segment in other TV shows before Weekend at Bernie's came out in movies where it was just like a footnote. This is a scene and then it's over. But they took that scene and did a whole movie around it.
I mean, like, listen, it's like Rope, but as a comedy. Like, you have to be understood. Like, you cannot root for two people. You have to be a true, straight up sociopath to just be okay lugging around a dead body for the
Yeah.
weekend. As a person who one time found a dead body,
Where?
I can tell you, oh heck yeah.
You did.
I don't know why I said it like that. It was very traumatizing.
Wait, when did you find a dead body?
I found a dead body
Where?
I'm like getting hives. After work one day, I planned events for the city when I was going to college, and our office was right next to a senior center, which was like we shared a parking lot with a school. And so I went to my car. I remember I was leaving early one day because I was like, I'm going to go to Anthropology and get the sweater I really like. So I was leaving early. So I'm going to my car and I look over and there's like an older gentleman like slumped over in his car.
Oh, no.
And I was like, and it was a really hot day. And I was like, oh shit, he probably fell asleep.
Oh no.
And so I like go and I knock on the window. And I'm like, oh, God, he's gonna like heat stroke. So I open up the door and he had been shot in the head.
Shot in the head?
Yeah, like an attempted carjacking. And so I run inside to the senior center and I'm like, help, I need help. And they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, there's a man. And so these poor old women that work in the front of the senior center grab their first aid kit and their gloves.
Oh no.
And they're running out. And they open the door from the other side. He falls out. And they're like, oh, and this one woman goes, oh, he's dead. And I passed out.
Oh, I should have laughed. But wow, this podcast took a real dark turn. I was not expecting that.
I am
Was
shocked.
there blood everywhere in the car that you didn't brain?
I have literally blocked it all out. I do not remember, like visually, I do not remember anything about it.
Wow, bro.
I can't believe you actually had it together to like leave the car and go and try and get help before you even passed out.
I don't
I'm
even
pretty
think,
sure
like-
I would have been like, seen the guy shot in the head and just like,
Yes, you would have,
straight up
Jonesy. You
adrenaline.
totally would have just been like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
And you would have just passed out.
yeah, like there would have been the reason why he would have been found is people would have seen like a body in the parking lot, which would have been me.
Well,
like,
and like afterwards, everyone was like, "We are so glad that you found him and not one of those kids. What a blessing!" And I was like,
yeah.
"Fuck that."
you're like, I'm a kid.
They can get over it. I'm emotionally
When you found the
scarred.
body, did you automatically think, oh, Weekend at Bernie's?
I was like, Weekend at Bernie's has prepared me for this. And I scooted him over and I was like, let's see what cards this guy has. Do you belong to a country club? What's happening?
That's
Let's have fun.
horrible. We shouldn't laugh. Poor guy.
I did not expect
It was
this,
terrible. I wrote a
audience
poem
listeners.
I wrote a poem for his funeral.
You
okay?
did?
I was very involved in it. Yeah.
Wow,
I
Brynne.
mean, you're a great writer, but
Oh, Jesus. That's
Yeah, we weren't anticipating
No,
that.
I was
not.
So I can tell you, like, it's not a fun, funny experience that you take lightly. So you would have to be a true, straight up sociopath to just be like, let's roll with
Yeah.
it. But for the purposes of this movie, very fun.
But you gotta say, I mean, in this film, Terry Kieser, the guy that played Bernie, did a great dead body.
So amazing.
So impressed.
So impressive.
Like the best part of
So,
the movie is his dead body acting.
So as an actor, I did keep watching him.
Yeah,
and just
same here.
being like,
Same here.
yes.
I am impressed. I have also played a person playing a dead body, and it is hard.
So I watched it on a date,
Yeah.
and I mean, it was like, is that a dummy or is that the real actor doing it the whole time? And I was like, no, that's him.
That's him.
Like
That's
he's
him.
doing it. They're pretend stapling things to his
God,
head.
that was so dumb.
Like,
So dumb.
I was impressed with him. He deserves an Oscar
You for playing a
this.
dead body. Seriously, jeez Louise. But you know what time it's for, you guys? The time of the show for
Let's start.
Name drop.
Dolly Parton. Rachel Maddow.
Interesting one.
I spend an hour with her every single day.
I once played a drinking game with
Celine Dion, Liza Minnelli, Cher, Laura Dern. I don't know her.
Who would you say is the most famous person in your phone?
my good friend Ben Affleck and his crippling addiction to back tattoos.
I have the best Lady Gaga story of all time.
Hate him, loathe her, over them, cancel it, tell me everything.
Yes, this is a part of the show. This is our version of 6 Degrees. It is Name Drop. So who are we going to pick from this film? Brynne.
I think it has to be Jonathan Silverman. Because we
Silverman.
did Andrew McCarthy last week. We didn't get it.
Oh, we didn't. That's right.
Did we have? We didn't have anyone write into the email, and we didn't have anyone write into Instagram.
No, nobody got it.
Listeners, a.k.a. Mom, I'm just.
Hey, Mrs. Jones, sorry you hate me.
Let's do from our next film. Let's do what's her name? Heather
Matarazzo.
Matarazzo. Yeah, Heather Matarazzo
Okay, so-
and
Jonathan Silverman to Heather Matarazzo.
let's see if we
can
can.
do
Can
that.
you do it by the end of the show?
Yeah, I can try. Which also, you guys, I was not kidding. Do you see I'm getting hives?
You
from
are.
talking
You're
about
breaking
that.
out. Wow. Have another drink.
am.
Have another drink.
Yeah.
Speaking of hives, we're gonna go to Lena's take on this film. She's never saw this film. I mean, you've heard of it before this week, right, Jonsey? Yeah.
Yes. There was a lot of this film that like I feel like I've already seen clips of the best parts and
Yeah. So what did you think? Like, what did you think watching it now for the first time? And would this movie have been on the no-fly list back when you were a kid with Mom and Pop Jones?
Oh, for
I know. I know
sure.
it's like a dumb question to even ask.
Yes, 110% yes, no fly list because I mean, Bernie is so bad of a guy that like it starts with sex, drugs, and debauchery, which automatically was on the no fly list. So like all of this stuff, it's like, well, of course I wasn't allowed to watch it. Like I didn't know this world existed because my parents were like, yes, no, it's all fine. We'll just create the world we want to live in.
Sure.
Idealistic, naive, but idealistic. But so yes, on the no-fly list, you know, not just drugs, but like IV drugs, ultra scary, especially in the 80s and 90s. Everything about their lifestyle was bad. You know, the girls in the thong bikinis, all of that stuff would have been very problematic.
That's what they would have been.
Not having sex with a dead body?
Oh no, that would have been problematic as well. I'm starting from the beginning of
Got
the
it.
movie. Like we wouldn't have made it to that point because, you know, the beginning was embezzling, IV drug
All
use,
of that. Debauchery.
affairs. The girl that runs in and is like, I'm gonna tell Bernie I'm borrowing his boat. And
That's like my
literally-
favorite
I know,
part
mine
because
too.
A, she's very hot, and B, what a great community.
Yeah, she just walks
Agreed
in.
on the great community.
Tell Bernie I'm taking his boat. Bye. And then everybody's just like, we're going to do this tomorrow again, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that
look at
I
you
agree
guys have that
wholeheartedly.
community.
Yeah.
But yes, all of that stuff I'm just pulling to mind of immediately why it would have either been turned off, VHS ejected, or channel changed if it ever came on. So yeah, no, we would have never made it to the
No.
point of necrophilia
It would have been
and
off.
everything else.
What did you think of
Correct.
watching it for the first time this week? Ever
So-
seeing it?
Yeah.
I really did appreciate a lot of the slapstick humor part of it. all of those comedy aspects. Like I said earlier, I really kept watching the guy who played Bernie.
Yeah.
And just being kind of like, there were a few scenes I had to rewind and be like, actually pay attention to what's happening in the movie instead of being enthralled with what he's doing acting wise. So I thoroughly enjoyed it from a comedic standpoint. I get why this movie had to happen so other movies could happen. I also understand why it's so important culturally. You need to kind of be familiar so you can know references.
But
is it a good movie? No, we already established that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I will agree with you. It is not a good movie.
Okay.
The other thing too that I was like, so this movie, I would just say, I wish this is one of the ones that I wish I could have watched younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish not necessarily of its time, but like I wish we had cable when I was in high school, so that when I was slipping around on a random Saturday and I was a sophomore in high school on the couch, you know, I could have stumbled upon the TBS version just like you guys, and you know, kind of like known what everyone was talking about. And obviously I think I would have appreciated a lot more. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is Tommy Boy. I love a dumb movie. I don't need a movie to be smart or to make sense.
No.
You know, like I also appreciate some of Adam Sandler's most ridiculous films because I mean, films is being generous. Movies.
But this is one of those films, Lena, that like you could put on in the background. You don't have to think about. You just put on and enjoy.
Yes, but I do think the more time, the more we get away from it, the less it will be appreciated. And I think the reason why I can appreciate it is because I love Brynne and I can put myself in her shoes of seeing this at a younger age. I also love Mannequin. I did get to watch Mannequin when I was younger. So there were aspects of that where I was like, actually, this movie, I wanted the whole thing. I wanted to just stop it and put on Mannequin.
This movie was so good, it made you want to watch another movie in the middle of it. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I still wanted to watch Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, true.
And I still wanted to watch that era and that kind of still like silliness. But and then like I said, it made me think of Tommy Boy and, you know, Billy Madison, you know, things like this where it's like, again, it's a premise where of course this isn't real. And because we all know this would never happen, we can just enjoy the silly and the slapstick and the physical comedy and the absurdity and, you know, we can lean into it and that kind of stuff. But
okay, this is
one of the movies that I feel like the further we get away from it in time.
Well, that's my question
Like,
to both of you now is, does this film hold up now? We're in 2021. Does it hold up after all these years?
I feel like if we had a younger generation who just watched it blind, no. So we're nearing that point.
Well,
like it'll still hold up because we'll have parents showing it to their kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like
But I also think like a younger generation watching it now is going to be like, it is so problematic. Everything about this is problematic. Yeah.
Well, what is so there are two things that I find problematic about it are that he's asking out an intern who's in college.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like that. You know, she seems like very into it and stuff, but I'm still like, that power dichotomy I'm not super into. And then the sex change joke.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah, the
it's
sex
gross.
change joke.
It's
to me, I
gross.
was
Well,
like,
and
nope,
that's such a
would not
kind of
fly.
like-
No.
That's a quick joke. Like that could almost be, if it wasn't like part of the note, it could be edited out. It's such a quick joke.
Yeah.
And it's not a joke they keep making.
No, it was
So
a one
I do
time
feel like
in the film, but
I get it because it's like that joke was like very much of the time. Like remember
Yes,
Soap with like
Soap
Sally?
Dish,
They make
yeah.
that joke. It's like ruins the
It
movie
does.
because they make that joke and like you know we have to get out of the thing of like just because a lot of people are doing it doesn't make it unoffensive or okay. It's like just because you said something racist 50 years ago doesn't make it okay. It's still racist. Like people were just more okay with it. So it is of that time, but we still need to be like, that sucks. What if we could digitally edit it out of the movie?
How though? That's what I'm saying, because it's a part of the note of setting them up.
You just say that it's a murder suicide.
Murder suicide.
You just say that's it, and they read the note and they're like, "Oh, murder suicide."
And there you go. But also too, I think when I see like that kind of a joke in a film from 1989 that I remember as a kid, and then seeing how that would not be okay these days. For me, I'm like,
correct.
Man,
the
whole thing is like, even though there's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to all of that, it's still like there has been a step made. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That now that kind of a joke in a film would never be okay nowadays.
No. But I don't know, because they made that joke in the second Zoolander.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but that was also, wasn't that still 90s or the early aughts? Like,
no, the second Zoolander was what, like 5 years ago or something?
Oh, I don't even remember.
No.
Yeah.
Zoolander 2. I'll
But
look it
even
up. Keep
still,
talking.
even now, even if that is made in a film, it's so inappropriate. And maybe because I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community, it just hits too close. I'm like, no, it's
2016.
not funny. Don't do it.
Yeah. Zoolander 2 was in 2016.
Really? Dang, that was yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
What about you, Brynne? Do you think it still holds up now? The film?
I do.
Of course you do. I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, can you take your nostalgia glasses off, or is this Christmas movie?
Scrooge. She can't even remember the name.
You know what? I am surprised that the Scrooge fandom has not taken our website down with your inflammatory comments about that movie.
They have a Scrooge fandom?
Yeah.
We have a website?
I'm really flying by the seat of my pants here.
Wow, Jonsey.
Lying left and right. Thanks for calling me out. I just think that this movie is stupid and funny, and I liked it. And there are lots of movies like that sort of scratch that itch.
Yeah.
Like Netflix movies or like the dumb rom-coms.
All the Christmas stuff
stupid.
that has what's her name?
You just don't like a Hallmark movie. You just don't have to think about it, and it's darker for sure. But I think it's still good to like watch to unwind.
Yeah.
And like
Get high, put it
grab
on,
a drink and just chill. I watched this many times right after my
Did
divorce.
you? It's a feel-good movie.
I was like, we get Bernie's.
I do love the comedy aspect of it. Like I loved the assassin like slowly losing his mind.
I know the hitman
every
Paulie.
murder that he
Yes.
exactly. All of that stuff I like. The theater dork in me was thinking about like what this would look like on a play or on a stage. And like I said earlier, I have actually played someone pretending to be a dead body I pretended to be a person pretending to be a dead body in scenes. And so having to do that whole like I respect
You're
it.
like, I like that. That works for me.
I too have been in a burlap sack.
Yes, you have.
You are Bernie. Bernie is you.
I have been flung over people's shoulders. I have held my breath so people didn't know I was
That's
breathing.
true.
All of it.
This dude can teach a master class for like all of our friends that are extras on CSI or SVU.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Do
you think this film needs to be remade?
No, never.
I know, because they reboot everything, they remake everything.
Yeah, I was trying to think of how you could possibly do it. Like the only way it would work is if like the Bernie character wasn't dead, but like somehow passed out.
Yeah.
That's worse.
Well,
in a coma?
You're doing terrible
I know.
things to this person's body. Who's
What if they
alive.
redid it?
I was trying to think of like a drug buddy comedy movie.
What if
that's what I was thinking passed out, where like, you kind of have a guy on the couch kind of thing, and then he wakes up at the end and is like, hey, whatever. Like that would make it, I think you could do some of the same, you could do a lot of the same shtick. And then that would still parlay in today's culture of not being necessarily as disrespectful because you've got a couple of druggy, I don't know, or
I want to see
that's the
them. I
only
want to
way
see
it
them
could work.
remake this movie with Audrey Plaza and Andrew Kendrick. How the characters they were, and Dave and Mike need a
Dave and Mike need
dates.
wedding
Yes,
dates. Or
those
Dave and
two
Mike need
characters.
dates.
That
Yes.
was a good
Remake it
one.
with
Just
those
weekends of
exact
weddings
two
it.
characters.
Let's write it. Give us some money and
Yeah.
cocaine, and we will write this movie for you in one weekend.
One weekend, just have them play Larry and Rich, and it would be Lauren and
Yes.
Lauren and
Please
Okay,
fund this.
so you could
Fund this
do
for
the
us.
sequel of that movie.
Lauren and Rachel would
and
be their
it's
names.
like
It would be their
So-
daughters.
Their daughters,
It would be their
yeah.
daughters.
no, I was gonna say it could be a sequel of that movie, except they're now like at a bachelorette party. So you would have to have a mix of, hangover kind of style movie where like
Yeah.
they've just got to get the bride to the
Or
event.
you
There
make
are lots of movies like that, like Very Bad Night,
Yeah.
Bad Night, Very Bad Things, like where there is like the central theme is that there is a
Body.
dead body. They just and those movies are like accepted, and it's like, oh, this is crazy, and what do we do? How do we hide this dead body? Like in Very Bad Things, but this is just turning it into a comedy.
Yeah, that's what it did. Now, what if they see if they redid this movie with those two characters, Audrey Plaza and Andrew Kendrick's characters for Mike and Dave need wedding dates? The Bernie would have to be like 10 times nastier and worse of a person. So then you don't feel guilty about so then you don't feel guilty about how horrible they treat the dead body, right?
It would have to be like they're Larry and Rich's daughters, and they are like journalists, and they're going over to expose like a Me Too type of thing.
There you go.
And the boss that they're going to expose is like a disgusting sexist Harvey Weinstein type character. So then he dies, and you're like, fuck, we don't feel bad for
No.
him. But they need to get the story. So they need to keep him alive long enough to get the story published. No one steal this concept. Copyright.
Copyright.
I
Producer
hate it.
Rob.
This is
Producer
awful. I
Rob.
would not watch this.
Producer Rob, please copyright this for us.
But they kind of did that with Weekend at Bernie's, is because they made Bernie such an awful character at the beginning that you didn't feel bad that they were.
And he was
Yeah,
dumb.
he was a.
You don't sleep with a mob boss's wife.
Yeah.
Girlfriend.
That's
You
why.
don't do that.
That's why I'm saying the movie remake would only work if you didn't kill the Bernie character.
But that was the whole point
But
of Weekend at
rather-
Bernie's, was that it was a dead body.
I'm fine with him. I'm
But
fine
if
with him
they
dying.
were,
I'm fine with him.
You're fine with it. Well, speaking of dead, like this episode. You know what time? It's time for
Dry
our.
martini. Oui, monsieur.
Wait.
Problematic.
3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quina lily. Shake it over ice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
It's drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another.
Grace, give me a stinger.
Yes, this is a part of the show where we're gonna pair an alcoholic beverage and some nibblies to go with this film. Brynne, since this is one of your favorite films, you can have the privilege of going first.
Heck yeah. So I would do a hurricane.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the drink, the very strong, like it's like a more tropical Long Island iced tea. And then I would do like a ceviche or a crudité.
Okay. What
I like this.
I do too. What would you pick with it,
Yeah.
Jonsey?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like Long Island refreshing drinks. Like I feel what's the minty one?
Mint julep.
Where they
Mint
crush
julep?
it?
Mojito.
Yes.
Mojito?
No, mint julep.
julep.
Mint julep.
Mint julep because it's a little bit older. And then yeah, like a couple slices of cucumber because that's the only way you're gonna fit in that thong bikini from the 80s,
You're
where
right,
it just
sister.
covers up your asshole, your vagina, and 2
Yeah.
nipples.
I would do
You're right.
a pina colada laced with cocaine because it was the 80s. Then
You're right,
I
Alex.
would do a clam bake, like an old-fashioned clam bake.
I love that.
That's what I would pair it with.
I love
Yeah, why
that.
not, right?
I mean, if you're on that much cocaine, you're not really gonna eat. Anyway.
No,
You're just,
but
like, going
that's
back
why
to
a
the
clam
bathroom
bake.
and go,
That's why the clam bake, because you just go for the experience. There you go.
Alright. Oy vey.
So, Brynne, did you figure out our name drop?
I did.
Okay, give it to us.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay. So Jonathan Silverman was in Brighton Beach Memoirs with Blythe Danner.
Okay.
Blythe Danner was in The Last Kiss with Marley
Oh,
Shelton.
I forgot about that film.
Yeah.
That's a good-
Marley Shelton was in Bubble Boy
Oh
with Jake
God, that was an
Gyllenhaal.
awful film. Speaking of awful
I
films,
know
it's
that
an
movie,
awful
and
film.
I
Love that
enjoyed
movie.
it.
Immunities, baby. Immunities. Jake Gyllenhaal was in Brokeback Mountain with Anne Heche. Anne Heche was in Princess Diaries.
Look
with
at you.
Hezar
Look at you
Parada.
again.
Holy shnikes.
Princess Diaries. That's right. Wiener Dog was in Princess
Right,
Diaries.
yeah.
That's the
Princess
only
Diaries.
thing I know her from.
Really?
Is Princess Diaries. Yeah.
Who, Anne Hathaway?
No.
Yeah. She's really
Yeah,
unknown.
she is.
I just read a really cute thing today about how her and her girlfriend have been together for a really long time.
Who, Anne Hathaway?
I read like a little.
Good for them.
No, Heather.
That's what I'm going to reply with everything. Who, Anne Hathaway?
Who, Anne
Anne
Hathaway?
Hathaway?
Yeah.
Shakespeare's wife, right?
She suffers from
Ah! I was waiting
Yep.
for you to make a reference. I was working in my head trying to be like, how can I bring in Shakespeare's wife?
Yep.
Fuck
The
Devil Wears
original
Prada
Anne
girl.
Hathaway. That's what it is.
She got the second best bed in the house.
Wow,
Hey!
Brett. Wait, where's my? There it is. All right, should we grade? Let's do grades before we get into our next film for next week.
I'm frightened.
All right,
yeah.
all right, let's do grades. So, so Jonsey, what did we give the good grades last week?
So shockingly, Brynne gave it an A+, and Tony gave it an A.
Oh, okay. Okay, Brynne, are you going to keep it as an A+ or?
Okay, I am gonna take my nostalgia goggles off.
And give it an A++.
And I'm gonna give it an A+. Still, I'm gonna keep it at an
Okay,
A+.
okay. I think I'm going to drop mine down to a solid B.
Okay,
Are
I'm
you
fine
okay
with
with that? I was gonna give it.
I'm fine
See, I was gonna give it a C, but then I went, no, Brynne's gonna hate me forever, so I'm gonna
Yep,
go
you're
ahead
right.
and do a solid B.
Preserve our
Yes.
friendship and the podcast. Please.
Okay, Jonesy, what about you?
Or- I will give this a solid B-.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give it way worse than that. Okay.
No, because I do think there are enough like just stupid comedy moments that is enjoyable. This movie does not hold up. The more time we get away from it, the less it will hold up, the more problematic it will come. But I think we're still in that grace period window where people are like, I can enjoy parts of it. So I give it
would
a
it be in the Filmspringa passport? And before you answer this, I want you to take this into consideration. How influential this movie has been in pop culture,
Correct.
even today, because I mean they parodied it on what's it called, Family Guy, and a bunch of everything. So would this get a stamp in the Filmspringa passport?
No.
Oh, why? I would think
Because-
yes, because of the pop culture references.
Okay,
throughout
but
the
here's
years. What?
why. Up until this date, I have watched all those pop culture references and gotten them.
Okay.
You don't need to have seen this movie because this movie is so big and clips are everywhere and
Yeah.
it's referenced so much. This is one of those movies that now that I've watched it, I still didn't think
Okay.
you don't need to watch it to get the like. I already got all.
Do you
the
think it's
references.
because it's
it didn't open anything up
Yeah.
that I didn't get before.
Do you think that's because it has been so soaked into pop culture
Like
since
saturated,
'89?
Yeah, agreed. Yes, this is one of
Yeah.
those that I do think like all the best parts of it are referenced so much that you know this movie way more than you think
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
so watching it, like I
Yeah.
honestly didn't get any jokes or references more.
Okay.
I just kind of saw
Interesting.
all the parts of the movie that were like, oh, this is the problematic
Yeah.
parts. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it didn't open any doors or ideas or anything like that. You will get the references. I mean, don't be a weirdo and like close yourself off to the references.
So she's saying,
like,
bottom line, yes, you should watch it.
Yeah, you should see it.
no, you don't
No.
need to.
Brynne,
I mean, if you want to, yes, but you don't need
Brynne,
to.
final thoughts on the film since this is one of your favorite ones.
Well, it's just so funny and fun and dumb. And sometimes you
Agreed.
feel a little dumb in your life, you know? Things are serious.
I know, especially after the last year. Jeez. But our next
Yeah.
film, next week's film,
Heck
I'm super excited
yeah.
for because I've seen this film so many times and I've been wanting to do it on the show. And it's an indie classic comedy from the 90s. And this movie came out the year I graduated high school. So I saw this in the theater at Landmark
Yeah.
Theaters, like I think 3 or 4 times in the theater because I was obsessed with it. It is a coming of age movie from 1995. Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Yes.
And I
Ooh,
know Jonsey has never even heard of this film, has no idea.
I do remember seeing the movie cover at Blockbuster and being
when
like,
she's like-
well, it just keeps popping up.
Yeah.
I love this film. What do you think it's about, Jonsey? Based off of the movie poster and the name.
Yeah.
So the movie poster is Welcome to the Dollhouse. Not all girls want to play with dolls. I
Yep.
love this film. It's so...
I feel like it's a weirdo teenage girl coming of age movie. Where like maybe she's infantilized.
Infantilized. That's a good
Thank
word.
you. And isn't allowed to grow up and is kind of pushing that boundary, but also in a weird,
Okay.
eclectic kind of way.
That's pretty close. I would say that's
Yeah.
pretty right on. Good guess, Jonsey. Good guess.
Yeah.
All right, Brynne, shall we give us the grades? I already know mine. Mine's an A+.
Yes.
I still love this movie.
Mine's an
and
A+.
I just watched it
Mine's
not
an
too
A+ as
long
well.
ago, so I'm excited for Welcome to
mine's-
the Dollhouse. I have very strong
Yes.
emotions to the lead character. I relate to
As do
Miss
I.
Dawn Wiener
Yeah.
very much.
So much. So
know.
much.
So you're both an A+.
Yeah, it's a nice
both
little
wieners, yeah.
indie film, and it's going to be very fun to revisit it next week. And I think actually Jonsey's going to like this film. I think so.
I think you
This
will.
is another one of those movies where I'm worried about not liking it because a lot of my favorite people I know like it. So the pressure is there.
We
as
just won't be
far
friends
as
with
our-
you
Yeah.
anymore, and we'll stop the podcast
Yeah.
forever, and you'll be
As far as
outcast.
our
Don't worry.
hidden episodes, I'm worried this is going to be another party.
Very much possible.
Possible.
For those of you that don't know,
Well,
we did some
no one
episodes.
knows. It's a hidden
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, we did some episodes
never
for the
aired.
podcast that are lost. We call them the lost tapes. They never
Mhm.
aired, and one of them was Party
Which
Girl, and
I was religious
Lena
about.
did not.
In the 90s,
like
yeah.
it.
And she tore it apart.
Tony and I, it was my voicemail in high
Mhm.
school.
Hello.
Hello,
What's up, Buttercup?
and I
Hated it.
caused a real rift in our
Yes.
friendship for a while.
So hopefully this will not be a Party Girl 2 with Welcome to the Dollhouse. I'm very excited for the film.
I'm worried.
So everybody tune in next week when we do Welcome to the Dollhouse. You can follow us on Instagram. It is Filmspringa. And you can email us at filmspringapodcast@gmail. And yeah, leave comments. Let us know what you thought about Weekend at Bernie's. If this